Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 12. That's 11. 12. That's 21. 12 of the Odd Sports Topics podcast. I am Michael Rachel, as always, joined by PJ Ellis and Matt Costa. We've got a newbie, not new to the team, but newbie to the podcast system. It's Colin Ritter. You've probably seen him as the 12 unit man on giving you guys locks on the bets, but he's coming over here to throw some takes in the world of the NBA. And that's right. This episode today isn't the most odd episode we have been usually doing, but instead we've got the NBA draft on Thursday. So how about we go through our mock draft for you guys and tell you what we think teams will do, and then also say what we would do if we were the GMs of those teams. Make sure to go follow us on Twitter and Facebook at Odd Sports Topics. Visit us on oddsportstopics.com. And on our Twitter, go look at our pinned tweet. We've got a giveaway we're running right now. It's going to go, I think, the day before Thanksgiving, because we need to do the reveal on Thanksgiving. We'll have to send out a time for that. But go follow us on Twitter. If you're following us, go like or retweet or comment. Any of those things gets you an entry for a Yadier Molina signed pennant giveaway. You can have more than one entry, so feel free to retweet, like, and comment other people for multiple entries. It's a pretty cool giveaway. Other than that, make sure to go check out our last podcast, episode 11, which was an interview with Cam Jansen, a former St. Louis Blues and New Jersey Devils player. That interview was electric. I think everybody will enjoy that interview, it's safe to say. But what we have lying ahead of us is the NBA draft, everyone. Minnesota's currently on the clock, as we know. PJ, we see on the sheet here, you're first. So by default, you're going to give us what you think Minnesota is going to do with that number one overall pick.
So reports are coming out today as we record this, which is Monday, November 9th, that we normally record on Thursdays, guys. Forgive me. That multiple GMs and front offices believe that the Timberwolves are going to select LaMelo Ball here with the number one overall pick. A lot of teams have been linked to him. I think Minnesota, they normally don't draft well. I think they're going to slip up here and take LaMelo Ball at number one overall. I do not think LaMelo one should go number one overall. I'm a little worried LaMelo's a bust. Can't shoot the ball. I think he's going to be a problem in the locker room. You're going to have to deal with issues of LeVar being involved in your team wherever he goes. So I would not take LeVar over one. I would personally take Anthony Edwards number one overall. I think he's the best player available in this draft. But I do think LaMelo is going to go number one to the Timberwolves.
So, Matt, obviously PJ just said it. LaMelo Ball, number one to Minnesota. He does not agree with it. But do you think Minnesota will go with LaMelo Ball as well? Or where do you think they go on draft night?
I think Minnesota goes with LaMelo first overall. It really hurts me to say it, but I think he's the clear best available right now in the draft. He can shoot from range a little bit, and he can beat you in the paint with good passing. His defense is suspect, to say the least. He's pretty sauce on D. But he might get pushed around just of who he is, but playing in Australia, he played against grown men. He got some professional experience that might help him a little bit. As long as he can learn how to finish at the rim and stop with all the acrobatic stuff that he's trying to do, if he gets a little stronger and he can finish stronger, I think he'll have a good NBA career, maybe fix that jump shot a little bit. But I like LaMelo at number one personally. It might be a cold take with how you guys think, but I like LaMelo number one. I think that's what they'll do.
I'm going to cut you off there. You said that he can shoot it from three a little bit. He shot 25% from three last year in the Australian League.
But his highlight films, they look so cool, PJ.
And the volume is there, PJ.
A little bit.
He shoots the ball a lot. He doesn't make a lot of them.
He's like Donovan Mitchell in a way.
I'll give you this. He sees the floor well. He does. He sees the floor well. If there's one thing you take away from him, he's big and he sees the floor well. I'm not a fan of his jumper. As I said, he sees the floor well. Yeah, he passes well. He can't shoot the ball.
Colin, I'll come to you before I follow up with a question for both PJ and Matt. Where do you think Minnesota goes on draft night?
I mean, it's perfect that Minnesota has the first overall pick in this draft because Minnesota is just a very underwhelming team, underwhelming franchise. Draft is underwhelming. Besides, my point here is that there are few people that can succeed in Minnesota, and there are few people that fit in what Minnesota is trying to do. Karl Anthony Towns was one of them. I think that was a great pick. They are clearly trying to push forward this core of Karl Anthony Towns and D'Angelo Russell, which in my opinion is not a bad core to start with at all, especially if you have the number 1 pick. But when you add LaMelo Ball to the mix, I mean, he is similar in a way to D'Angelo Russell in the fact that they will jack up their threes. D'Angelo Russell will hit more, in my opinion, but they don't play any defense. And Minnesota is not some defensive powerhouse that is just lacking scoring. They need everything. They have a star that they can build around Karl Anthony Towns, but beyond that, they need a lot. And LaMelo Ball is not going to plug a bunch of holes other than getting butts in the seats and LeVar Ball screaming at the GM and the coach. I think it'd be a terrible choice for Minnesota to pick LaMelo Ball. But like PJ said, Minnesota often shoots themselves in the foot. They cannot draft. I think they pick Anthony Edwards, and I would also pick Anthony Edwards. So I'm going to kind of mirror these two here. I think Anthony Edwards is the right pick. He's so young. He's only 19. He has a lot of promise. He was on a bad Georgia team where a knock on him is he has to shoot, or he shoots a lot of contested threes. And I mean, that's what you have to do when you're the best player on a bad team. So I don't really knock him for that. Like I said, a lot of maturity is on the way with how young he is, but I can't fathom Minnesota picking LaMelo Ball. That being said, if they do pick him, I wouldn't be surprised. It would just be a disaster. But
Kind of like you said too, they need a lot of holes there, especially defensively. I think Anthony Edwards has a lot of promise on the defensive end of the ball, and I think he'd play really well against D'Angelo Russell. He's a little bit of a suspect defender back there sometimes, so it'd be a good backcourt. I think they'd play off each other well if they went with Anthony Edwards. I just don't think they will.
yeah, and I mean, D'Angelo Russell is not. You have D'Angelo Russell to facilitate and splash the open three. I think D'Angelo Russell. I wish there was a stat for swishes. Every time I see D'Angelo Russell, he's swishing a three. It never hits the rim. That being said, like he's getting played up to be. He's not a top 30 player in this league. Karl Anthony Towns, I'd say, is pretty safely top 20. You just need more. You need more role players who can do the things that help teams win. And LaMelo is just. I mean. I'm scared LaMelo's in it for himself. I'm scared the Ball family is kind of like just a bad, like only some teams can handle a Ball on their team, and the Timberwolves are not one of them.
So Matt and PJ, I want to ask you a question. What do you think it is about LaMelo Ball that intrigues Minnesota enough to take him number 1?
He's a 6'7" guard. I think they like that.
Matt, you like him.
He's got a nice build for a point guard, and he's still growing. He's only like 18 and a half. So, I mean, he could always gain another inch here. I think they also might like that he's already played professionally somewhere. They got a little bit of tape on him probably from some of those games in Australia. He wasn't bad, PJ. I mean, no, you're right. He can't really shoot that well. He could shoot a little bit. He showed flashes of having some range. But if they can develop that jump shooting, I mean, possibly watch out.
I mean, I think, like you said, they like his size. They like his athleticism. He's pretty athletic. He sees the floor well. To me, I agree with Colin. He's a very similar player. Their strengths are very similar when it comes to him and D'Angelo Russell. I just don't see why you'd go with both in the backcourt. But I just think that you get star power with him as well, too. Obviously, you're going to get a brand name and somebody that will put butts in the seats. But other than that, I don't know what they see. Maybe they believe they can develop his shot. And if he develops a shot where he can shoot even 35% from three, God forbid if he gets up to 40, he can be a really good player. I just don't. That was the same question with Lonzo. Lonzo, when he came in the league, is can Lonzo develop a shot? Can Lonzo develop a shot? If he develops shots, over. He never did, and that's why Lonzo, in all degree, would be a bust considering how highly touted he was out of college.
And I don't want to say like I'm not anti LaMelo. I think LaMelo overall is good for the game. I think he's perfect for what this kind of game is going towards, where it's, flashy passes, deep threes, and like PJ said, if he can develop a consistent shot, and his floater is nice too. My thing is he's only going to work on a few teams, and the Timberwolves are not one of them. I'm scared the Timberwolves think what they need is to become relevant again is the media coverage. They want to be playing on ABC on Sundays, but how they're going to become relevant is not through LaMelo Ball. They need defense and they need rebounders. They need fundamental people to fit alongside Karl Anthony Towns, and he's not that. What do you think, Mike?
Yeah, so I'm with you, Colin. I think they're going to go Anthony Edwards on draft night as well. I have a lot of question marks about Anthony Edwards. I would like to see Minnesota try to trade this pick, but that's not going to happen realistically because I don't think anybody really wants this number 1 overall pick, especially when Golden State is looking probably to move their pick. Why not just trade to 2, right? When there's a lot of question marks about Anthony Edwards. Can he shoot the ball? He only shot like 30% from 3 in Georgia or at Georgia. So I don't know. I have a lot of questions, but Matt, I'm going to need you to switch my personal opinion on that.
Oh, of course.
I think
Yes, sir.
now this is the hot take already, and it's pick number 1, and I'm already throwing the hot take. If
This is
I was
quick.
Minnesota, what I would do is try to trade that pick. But obviously that's easier said than done, right? If I can't trade that pick, I think I'm taking Obi Toppin number 1.
You're wild.
That is
And here's why.
absolutely insane.
Minnesota lacks a
You're
power forward
wild.
right now. They lack a power forward. Again, I don't think this is going to happen on draft night. But they lack a power forward. Obi Toppin is not a good defender. That's his big lack, is he can't really defend the ball, but he can rebound well. And Cat will be there in center to protect the rim. So he doesn't really need to protect the rim. But also 40% from 3. He would stretch the floor nicely for Minnesota. They're not like this a normal number 1 draft pick team. They've got weapons. They've got Cat. They've got D'Angelo Russell. They got Jarrett Culver. I think Obi Toppin would be a nice addition at the 4 for them.
I think if their pick was around 4, 5, or 6, then Obi Toppin is not a bad pick at all. But I think that is, I mean, being the number 1 pick, you have pressure coming in. I don't think Obi Toppin, I think if he comes into the number 1 pick as Minnesota, they're going to expect Minnesota to be good immediately and him to produce immediately. And it's just not going to happen with Obi Toppin. What I think Charlotte could trade for this pick. They love Wiseman. Reports are coming in that he is the guy they want. Will he fall to number 3? We'll see. I could see them trading up to 1 in fear that Golden State takes Wiseman, which I don't think anyone is certain of.
Mhm.
But I think Wiseman is a lock to go in the top 3 to Charlotte or Golden State. I could see Minnesota being able to trade down to Charlotte for something nothing crazy, but I don't think Obi Toppin,
Mhm.
God, is crazy at 3. I think he's pretty crazy at 1.
So
I think
go
with
ahead, PJ.
Obi Toppin, is a great player. I think he's going to be a really, really good player in the NBA, but I think he needs time to develop. And if you draft into a team that kind of needs to win now, but Cat's not going to wait around for a losing franchise much longer. D'Angelo Russell, you need to they're not in win now mode, but they need to make a push to player that can help them immediately. And I think Obi Toppin's not that guy. I think Obi Toppin's going to go to a team that has time to develop him. Because I think if you give him time to develop and you're patient with him, I think he's going to be a stud in the NBA. I used to think if he goes there at that position, he's not going to have time to develop. I think that you're going to need to kind of be in a win now mode. So they're going to draft somebody that they think can help them win now. With Cat, I don't know what Cat's contract situation is like off the top of my head, but I have to imagine it's coming up soon. I don't think he signed an extension recently, has he? Anybody?
No,
I'm
I
not
got
sure. I'd have to look. But I'm going to disagree with you on that, PJ. I think Obi Toppin is he's actually the most NBA ready guy in the entire draft. I think of the entire top 10, I think he is the most NBA ready. Plug him in now.
Wow.
2 takes from you already.
Who do you think is more ready?
Wow.
I mean, let's be honest. Anthony Edwards is not more ready.
Wiseman.
LaMelo Ball is not more ready. Wiseman, you can make an argument.
We'll get to
you can make an argument for Wiseman, but he hasn't played. He lacks playing time. Like there's question
I would say
marks.
Edwards over him as well.
There's question marks, I think, for how much he's played at the high level of basketball. And I think that could be a learning curve for him. Whereas Obi Toppin was the guy on Dayton. Literally, him and Jalen Crutch were the only 2 like good players on Dayton that went up against Kansas, went up against Gonzaga. They were undefeated or they had 1 loss to Kansas in overtime before the NCAA tournament. Should have lost this, so they hit a game winner. You're right, at the buzzer. I think Obi Toppin is the most NBA ready. And that leads me into I think Golden State takes Obi Toppin at 2.
Okay.
Because I think for that exact reason, I think Obi Toppin you could play him at the 5. I think he could come off the bench and be that replacement for Kevon Looney. I think you could play him as a stretch 5 where he kind of fits into Golden State well, where he shoots very well from 3. He isn't like he's able to get up and down the floor, whereas like a true center like a Wiseman would not be able to. I think he's a really, really good fit in Golden State, especially. So I would like to see him go at number 2. I think Golden State's going to do whatever they can to get rid of this pick. But if they hold on to it, I think they end up going with Obi Toppin at number 2.
I don't think it's crazy.
So who do you
think, Mike?
Your personal there.
Yeah, so I don't know if this is legal, but can I also think he should go at number 2? Like, I don't.
Yeah, you can do that because you have a different person for going number 1.
Yeah, like I'm not going to have that in the same column. I won't have him double lap,
Yeah.
but I think a personal opinion that what they should do is different. They're saying that's fine.
Now, I'll take over this next spot. Now, I think Golden State's going to go with the best player available, and I think that'll be Anthony Edwards. I think Golden State's made that clear this offseason. They're not going to draft for need, which would be Wiseman or Toppin or even a Kowu or a big man like that, because that's what they're lacking. But I think they're going to go with the best available overall, because I think later on in the season too, if a veteran's on the trade block, they want to have somebody that carries high trade value, and I think they're going to go with the best player overall. And I think Anthony Edwards would be great in Golden State. He, like you said, he's everything they need out of a player. He can develop off the ball. That's a great system to do that in. He can learn behind Steph and Clay. Great role models, great coaching staff, great organization. You can stick him in at the 3. You can play off the bench, big minutes. I think he would be perfect fit for the Warriors. And then he could also be a great trade piece later in the season if a Brad Beal comes available on the trade block or somebody along those lines. I think what they should take is I'm gonna go with Anthony Edwards. I think they should draft Anthony Edwards.
All right, so
for the same reasons.
Colin, I'm gonna
One second, Mike.
Yeah, go ahead.
Can we take a break? Abby just brought me Dairy Queen over. I need to go grab that.
Oh my God.
Oh, he's mad at Mike for the eating.
Yeah, right. Unbelievable.
Hey, I'm putting it in the freezer. Are you here?
Yeah, go get your Blizzard, buddy.
All right, come on.
All right, Colin. Looks like PJ skipped over your turn, but that's okay. We're all about open discussion here.
Chivalry is dead.
Chivalry is dead. We were going in a nice snake format.
Chivalry is for sure.
And then PJ
dead.
said,
Can't
"No,
confirm.
this is not snake
Hold
format."
on. You
check the obituary.
We did. I'm sorry. I thought you skipped. That's why I felt free to skip, but you didn't.
I did not. I went. Yeah.
You
But
did.
that's
PJ,
okay.
I'll take my apology in the form of a max play next week. I need you to do some studying. All right, I got number 2, Golden State. Again, this is tough. Golden State's such a weird. You'll never see a team as good as them in the number 2 spot ever. In terms of skill wise, you have Steph and Clay coming off their year hiatus. Steph could have played last year, but he decided, I'm going to rest. Kawhi and LeBron get killed for load management, but Steph in his Under Armour shoes. No. Those little kids can't get mad at him. Clay is coming back, and that's the most important part of that. Clay is better than Steph. He's always been better than Steph. He's always added more.
Wow. Whoa. We're going to have to hold the phone on this one.
Clay can shoot at equally or better than Steph. Steph has the flashy moments, but again,
you mean Steph puts defenders in blunders is what you were trying to say by saying he has his flashy moments.
In the regular season,
he does not put people in.
He's the second best handles in the league. Who's better?
He put Chris Paul into a funeral home.
Kyrie has.
It's Kyrie and then him. It's Kyrie and then him. It's an end debate. There's nobody.
Yeah, but we're not talking handles here. He also disappears in the biggest moments. I mean, how many finals does he have to be in before he even competes for a Finals MVP? And then Clay.
It's not his fault. It's not his fault. The best player in the world was on his team the last 2 finals he competed in.
Clay Thompson.
I can't believe you're talking about best. It's not his fault that he was playing against the best player in of all time in his finals. But here we're going back to Clay.
Sickened by this take right now.
I am too.
Disgusted.
Clay is a better shooter, or equally or a better shooter than Steph, and
false.
he plays.
False.
He actually plays defense. All right,
he's a great defender. I love Clay. Hold on, no, that's too blasphemy to take. You just breeze past it. Like, you can't say what you have to say and then just
It's not a crazy take. A lot of people.
Crazy take.
If you
it is a crazy take.
I would love to see their roles reversed. I would love to see Clay bring the ball up, shoot as well as Steph does, and I would love to see Steph off the ball and see if he can still shoot as good as he does.
Well, maybe then
Clay
Steph would have time to play defense. Yes, for sure. Let's get back to
he made 403 threes in a season.
Yeah, again, but how
many? He was the first ever
hit?
Unanimous MVP.
Okay, well that is a whole other topic for another time. That makes no sense. But let's get back to number 2. Number 2, the Golden State has a lot of pieces around them. They've always kind of been lacking a big man presence.
Time out. If you take a point guard here, I'm gonna leave.
No. I mean, Steph's ankles are like one bad injury away from never playing again. But I'd say, I mean, again, it's just I honestly see them. I think if they get approached by any team with like a ready, this is very similar to the Kevin Love for Andrew Wiggins trade way back when. I think if any team approaches, I mean, similar to like the Pacers with Oladipo or someone with a functional, like ready to input production star, it doesn't have to be a star even. I think Golden State's willing to trade out of this pick, but in this scenario where we're having to pick, I think they go Wiseman to sort of spite the Hornets. I think Wiseman's the best big man in the draft. A little, just marginally better than Double O out of USC. I'm not even gonna try and butcher his name. I think Double O is a sick nickname, by the way. He should consider buying that off.
He should wear number 7.
I mean, yeah.
007.
I mean,
Thank you.
Yeah. But I mean, in the James Bond movies, they say like 00. They don't even say 00. So, like, there's so many 00s. It's like you're an MI6 agent. That's sick. I'm going James Wiseman is who I would pick personally. Who they go, I think they trade it, but I'll also say James Wiseman for.
You can do one trade. You want to make this your one trade? Who would they trade for?
I can't even imagine who they would trade it to. Again, I think it's a team that comes in over the next week, over the next 9 days between now and then, and I think they're more than willing to trade it. I could also see Charlotte just coming up and saying, we want number 2, you can have number 3, and Golden State being okay and get a like a fraction.
Miles Bridges?
No, it wouldn't be someone. It wouldn't even have to be someone like that. It could be like a pick in another draft or something. I don't know. I don't think it's a huge. I don't think Golden State is tethered to this number 2 pick. That's why I'm kind of indifferent with picking. But I'm gonna pick the best talent left on the board who fits Golden State's roster. I think it's James Wiseman.
So in case you guys were wondering, though, Colin has a very big bias against the Golden State Warriors. Is a LeBron lover himself. He admits his
I
bias.
respect the Warriors. I know. I mean, catch me in 2015 to 2018, and the Warriors, I can't even say their name. I mean, it got much worse 2017, 2018, 2019 when they and actually they KD let LeBron off the hook for the decision because there's just no worse decision in basketball history than joining the Warriors and blowing a 3-1 lead earlier that year. I honestly, like I said, I respect the hell out of Klay. I think Steph is one of the most polarizing, overrated superstars in our generation. If you take the age demographic of kids 6 to 14 out of it, Steph is just another good shooter.
PJ, are you in the range of 6 to 14?
No.
Am I?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know how you guys have been corrupted.
Were the MVP voters that were unanimous to vote in the unanimous MVP in the league in that age range?
They must have been. Yeah, they must have been.
There's no other explanation according to Colin.
Truly no explanation. The fact that LeBron has existed in this league and not been a unanimous MVP yet. Or I mean, there have just been so many. Steph is not top 10 all time. He is the best. He is probably the best deep 3 shooter of all time. I'll say
he's the best shooter of all time. He's in the conversation for top 3-point guard of all time.
Ray Allen is the best shooter of all time.
All right, let's go to Matt.
Hold on 1 second. That's the last thing we'll say on this. If you're a big stat guy, which is the reason you think LeBron's greatest of all time, then when Steph passes Ray Allen every single shooting statistical category, why is Steph not the greatest, but LeBron's the greatest statistical?
I think if you again, the game is changing so much.
Steph changed the game. Steph changed the game.
Steph and others.
Steph,
James Harden, Dame Lillard, a lot of people. No, I mean,
Steph
listen, again, I said he's the best deep 3 shooter of all time. But I think if you put Ray Allen in this time period, he puts up similar numbers. He just wasn't playing. He wasn't playing in an era where they shoot this many threes.
Matt,
it's been a half hour for 2 picks. 2. This is gonna be a long pod. But Matt, I think we lost our big board as well.
We did lose our big board. I am experiencing some technical difficulties over here.
That's fine. You just want to give us your pick. We'll get the big board back.
We'll go ahead and just update you on my pick there. So I think the Warriors take Anthony Edwards. He'll add some explosiveness and length to that offense. He already has an NBA body. He can score from pretty much anywhere on the floor. His 3-point shooting is a little bit questionable, but he can figure that out. They don't really need 3-point shooting over there in Golden State. I don't know if you've heard, Colin. I don't know if you've heard they have 3-point shooters. But here's where it gets a little funky for me. I think a little bit of a trade scenario here, maybe. PJ, I can't wait to hear you rip on me for this one. But I think they trade number 2 to Detroit for Blake Griffin. And
I
they
totally
get
see that.
Wow.
Right.
I like
And I
it.
think that would be a
Blake Griffin.
great addition.
Detroit gets the 2 pick, and they get
PJ is
maybe
sick.
a future second rounder or 2. But I think that could work in favor for everybody.
I like that for
Warriors could use a
Detroit.
veteran. They could use Blake Griffin.
Love that for Detroit. Hate that for Golden State. I don't know what you get out of that besides an aging big man who hasn't really been that great ever since his days on the Clippers. I don't know why you make that move. I think if you're going to trade that pick, you're going to go with somebody that can help you. Does that push them over the top? I don't think so. I think they're way off from the Lakers and the Clippers and even the Bucks if they make that trade. I think if they're going to trade number 2 and give away somebody that could possibly help them for the future once Steph and Clay are gone, they're going to do somebody that can help them win now, like win the championship now. I don't even think that makes them favorites if they make that trade.
I think Blake Griffin can help them win a championship now. He's still explosive. He's still decent in the paint. He's a veteran. He knows his way around the locker room. He's I think he'd be good in the playoffs. Nice playoff.
We pause our traditional broadcasting to
First
show
touchdown. Let's go.
12-unit man Colin Ritter is about to hit
That's
his.
a plus 550. Cam Newton.
Who
first.
was
So that concludes picks 1 and 2 in the shortest episode we've ever recorded in our podcast history. Only about 30 minutes for 2 picks. But now Charlotte, now PJ, it is your turn. Okay. So now we come to PJ for his pick for Charlotte. Where does Charlotte go on draft night?
Charlotte needs a lot of help. I don't think there's a single player on that team that is like set in stone. He's going to be there for a while. So I think they're just going to go with best available. I think that's going to be James Wiseman at the position. He was crazy in college. While he played, averaged 30 a game, 16.7 rebounds and 4.7 blocks. I personally would probably just take James Wiseman. You need a lot of help. I'm not a big believer in taking big men early. I just don't see how it pans out in today's NBA. But like I said, they need everything, and he's probably the best available. So I'd go with James Wiseman as well.
Makes sense. Matt, where are you going to, or not where are you going to go? Where is Charlotte going to go on draft night? And then where are you going to
go? James Wiseman for both is the answer from me. Charlotte needs some size and athleticism on their weak front court, led by Bismack Biyombo and Cody Zeller. They're going to need some replacements there. I love this Charlotte team. I'm probably the biggest Devontae Graham fan in the entire world. So I would love to see how him and James Wiseman can run the pick and roll and run a little offense there.
So, Colin, you already think James Wiseman's going to go to number 2 to Golden State. Obviously, earlier you said you would not be surprised if Charlotte traded up to get James Wiseman, but eventually you said he'll go number 2 to Golden State. So who do you think Charlotte will take at number 3, given that Wiseman's off the board?
Yeah, it's no secret, like PJ and Matt said, that they need a big man. Bismack Biyombo, I remember him. He had like a month of fame when he was on the Raptors, and he had a pretty good series against the Cavs. Mm-hmm. But overall, he's trash. Cody Zeller's trash. They go 00 here from USC, and that's who they should take and who they will take. I think he's great. I mean, overall, just attributes-wise, wingspan is off the charts. I mean, people are having a hard time distinguishing between who's better between him and Wiseman. Not a lot of tape on him. Obviously, he's a freshman at USC, and he only had 1 season. But, I mean, I think his ceiling could be like a Bam. I mean, the Hornets, there's no point in taking anyone but a big here. And Wiseman's off the board in my mock draft, so they're going 00.
So you think they should take Wiseman if he's available, though?
If Wiseman and 00 are both there, I think Wiseman's the better player. But again, there's not a lot of tape on either of them.
So, Matt, let's put Wiseman in Colin's personal as well. Let's put him before or just leave him there. Yeah. Because I think that's fair because you also brought it up. Yeah. All right. So I think I also think I'm with PJ and Matt on this. I think Charlotte's going to go James Wiseman. So it looks like Charlotte's definitely going to take a big man according to us, which I think is the right course of action for them. Do you think there's a world, Colin, since the other 2 already have him gone, do you think there's a world Charlotte takes LaMelo Ball here? Because I think there is.
If they want if they want him to leave in 2 years, demanding a trade and to further make themselves a laughing stock in the NBA. Yeah, for sure.
There's no reason to take LaMelo Ball. They already have an elite point guard in Devontae Graham. Please put some respect on his name.
Devontae Graham is not elite, but he is good.
He's good. He's not elite.
He should have been most improved this year. 100% this year. Don't even act like
he should have been a finalist.
Drew Hanlon, NBA skills trainer would disagree with you.
Go check out the pod with him. Our episode. I don't know what episode it was off the top of our head. I'm gonna say 6. Could be wrong, but go look in our YouTube channel.
Mike, who you got for Chicago?
Yeah. So first of all, Matt, I think I would take Wiseman here.
Yes, sir.
If I'm Charlotte as well, and if Chicago, I think they're gonna go LaMelo Ball here. Kobe White, I'm not bought into him being a true point guard. I think he could develop into a shooter, so I think he could play the 2. But I'm also not sold on LaMelo Ball being a true point guard. So I think one of them could end up being developing into a true point guard and the other one being a shooting guard. So I actually think LaMelo Ball in Chicago kind of fits pretty nicely. It's a Showtime city, Showtime LaMelo, right? It'll get them back to where they need to be on the national stage. They've got Zach LaVine, who's a really good scorer as well. And they've got Lauri Markkanen, who's probably the most average player in the NBA. I can't think of a more average guy than Lauri Markkanen when I think. But I think LaMelo Ball is a good fit for Chicago. If I am Chicago, I am also taking LaMelo Ball here.
Yes, sir. Gotcha.
And Colin, we come to you now for what you think Chicago will do.
I'm having a hard time placing LaMelo Ball anywhere. Again, I think he needs to be on a big stage with good players around him that can make him better and also kind of check his shot volume, but also shot choice. Chicago is definitely not that team. I don't believe in Lauri Markkanen. I think Zach LaVine is great. Kobe White, jury's still out on, in my opinion. Here's where they go. They're gonna go foreign. They have ties to the Nuggets. I forget exactly who is now in the front office for Chicago. That was from Denver, but he played a big role in drafting the Joker. And funny enough, Denny also has Denny Avdia from Tel Aviv and out of Israel, dual citizenship with Serbia as well. So he has that connection to the Joker. I think he goes to Chicago. I think fans are going to boo him because they don't know his name, but
it's virtual. It's all virtual. So
there's going to be virtual boos. There's going to be a lot of thumbs down. Do a quick YouTube search, though, and they're going to enjoy what they have. And I think with the right development, the Bulls haven't been able to develop anybody. But if they do, I think they would be better off choosing Denny.
So you also think he should take, or they should take Denny?
Yeah.
Or you would take them?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
What do you have to lose if you're the Bulls?
Nothing. You got nothing. And that's why I also think they're going to take Denny Avdia. He is my favorite.
Matt, is this your team? This is your team, is it not?
This is my team.
This is your team. This is the Cody Parkey's brother Chicago Bulls team, right?
Yes, sir. This is my team right here. Not Cody Parkey. Please don't say his name. We're talking NBA.
You just said it. I thought you don't say PJ. I'm pretty sure on a past podcast he refuses to say his name and he just said it.
Yeah, I gotta go wash my mouth out.
All right, sorry to interrupt you while you're about to give love to Denny.
Yes, he's my favorite player in this draft. I love Denny. He's slept on. He can play the wing or he can play in the paint. He gets to the rim with ease. He's a point guard with the ball handling and playmaking skills, a power forward with the ball handling and playmaking skills of a point guard, and he plays really well in the pick and roll. He basically, his physical comparison, he lines up kind of like a Chris Middleton type, but he's better than Chris Middleton. I'm not a Chris Middleton fan. Yeah, I mean, he's 6'9", 215. 6'8", 210.
Chris Middleton's a pure scorer.
Denny's going to be a better.
Denny is not a pure scorer. Denny, that's his big knock is he can't shoot the ball.
He can't shoot the ball, but he can get to the rim.
Chris Middleton's a 50 or a 90, 50, 40. What's that? Help me out.
50, 40, 90.
Yeah, he's a 50, 40, 90
His physical comparison, not his player comparison. His physical comparison is Chris Middleton. Almost same height, almost same weight. But I'm going Denny. I think the Bulls would be fools if they didn't take Denny Avdia here. I think I honestly, I think he's the best player in this draft. I'm just going to say it.
Whoa.
Yeah, wild. I'm going crazy on this.
I agree with you there. I think him or another name I will name later, but I think those and they're both foreign. But I think the foreign player is going to be your best player in the draft.
He's nice.
I think we're getting a little too overhyped on foreign players given recent success with some foreign players. And I think we need to all just calm down a little bit. Not everybody's going to be the next Jokic. Not everyone's going to be the next Luka Doncic. Not everyone's going to be the next Giannis. I think
Sure, but what if you're what if
Sure.
you're uninspired with the like American college players that we've been watching?
That's true. In this draft, I think it's a little fair to say that because of how
There's
bad
no
the draft
Zion,
is.
there's no Ja.
Yeah, so I think it can be like that, but I also am not going to throw around saying he's going to be the best player, just because he averaged like 4 points per game in Israel.
He didn't see the floor as much as he should have.
Yeah, I just
Did not.
But like, if he's not seeing the floor as much,
I mean,
he's playing He's a long-term project.
Yeah, of course.
Like Giannis was a long-term project as well. He was 3-4 years of a project. Does Chicago want to invest into a project when they need to win in such a big market? I don't think so.
I don't think Chicago can be expecting to take whoever they want at number 4 and expect to just win. No one on this board is going to elevate Chicago from where they are now to a winning club.
Okay. PJ, come to you. Who do you think Chicago's taking?
I agree with both Matt and Colin. I think that's who they will take and what they should take. I have some concerns. Obviously, shooting is to be in the NBA today, you have to be able to shoot the ball. And that's going to be the key to his success is if he can develop a jumper. He's not the quickest. His lateral quickness is he lacks length to be a difference maker on the defensive end. But he's a gifted scorer inside. He's a great vision, great passer. If he can develop a shot, he'll be a really good player. I'm also going to hold the brakes on the best player in the draft, but I think he could be a really good NBA player. So we'll just have to wait and see if he can develop that shot, though.
All right, Matt or PJ, we come back to you. So now we're on pick number 5. Where do you think the Cleveland Cavaliers? They need a fair amount of help as well. Where do you think they are going?
Come back to me on this one because I am unsure. I'm intrigued to see what Matt and Colin and you say first, but I'm intrigued because I don't quite know where they're going to go yet. So I'm looking for a little bit of help from you guys here. Maybe I'll agree or disagree.
That sounds fair. All right, Matt, we'll come to you.
For Cleveland, I have them taking a big man. I have them taking Onyeka or Okongwu. I butchered that, so we're just going to go with Double O. I think they're going to take him. They could use a big man. They drafted a point guard or some sort of the guard in the last 2 years with Darius Garland. And who else did they take? I can't even remember. They're just so irrelevant.
Colin Sexton,
yep. Correct. So I could see them taking a big man here. Aging Kevin Love is not going to be the answer. So they could use him. I think he's going to be great. What he's lacking in height that might cause him to struggle against traditional centers, he'll definitely make up for in athleticism. I liked the Bam Adebayo comparison that somebody threw out earlier, whether that was Colin or PJ or whoever threw that out. I like that comparison. I think that's kind of a good build for him.
I think that's his ceiling, but yeah, I agree.
Yeah, definitely ceiling. Just do that.
All right, that's fair. Colin, where do you think Cleveland goes?
I was talking about this guy earlier, and Cleveland is again another team that, I mean, they need a lot, but it's kind of hard to narrow down one area, especially I can see Dan Gilbert taking LaMelo. I think that would be a terrible choice. I think they take LaMelo. If I'm Cleveland, I'm taking Isaac Okoro. He's a wing from Auburn. He's great. He's young, big wingspan. And he's probably the best defender in the draft. And I think you can't go wrong starting with a wing, especially with scorers like Colin Sexton and Kevin Porter. And you don't need a big man with Drummond. So I think they take Okoro. If I'm Cleveland, I take Okoro. I think they take LaMelo Ball in yet another draft day blunder from Cleveland.
All right, mine. I feel like I'm throwing a lot of hot takes here, but this is just my personal beliefs.
Go for it.
Well, first of all, I think I don't know. Matt could be right in them taking Onyeka, but also they've got Drummond. Will Drummond be there at the beginning of the year? Who knows, right? So I think they will take on Onyeka, if you want to put that down for me of who they will take. Who I would take Devin Vassell out of Florida State.
I love
He
that
is
pick.
a 6'7" sharpshooter. He shot 44% from three. And he also is a really good defender as well. He's very good on ball and off ball. I think he could really play a role for Cleveland that they miss with good shooters, good shooting scores, which they literally do not have right now. Kevin
He's very
Porter a little bit, but also he's a good defender where Cleveland's defense is also lacked in future years or past years. So I would take Devin here if I was Cleveland, and I think that'd be a good pick.
I love that pick. I think he is similar to. I think he's like a better Cam Reddish in my opinion, and he's one of the guys, the few guys that I think in this draft or at least in this lottery that I can say that would immediately impact a game.
Matt, I'm gonna have you
Instantly.
change who I'm gonna have you put Devin where because I don't know if they're gonna go big man with Drummond. So we'll
I think
go for it.
that could be a good one to big man punch though, with like a traditional center and more of a new age guy.
That's fair.
But
And
I
also
get where you're
Drummond could not be there. He might not be there next year.
He's old. He's old.
He's in
PJ
trade
Wentz
talks
is
too.
Cleveland's just a weird team because they have Kevin Love and they have Andre Drummond, but obviously they're not in the win now mode. You have the young guard of Darius Garland, who I think could be a really good player. So they're in a really weird spot, which is why I was struggling here to see, what direction they're going to go in. I think I'm going to go with Obi Toppin is who they will take, and I think that's who they should take. Here, at this point, you kind of got to go with best available, in my opinion, and I think that's who it's going to be. And like I said, if you give him time to develop, I think he's going to be a really good player. I think they move off of Kevin Love in this draft for maybe future picks. I think they move off of Andre Drummond this season, and then at some point in the season. Again, it's Cleveland though, so you never really know what their front office is thinking. Why would you sign Andre Drummond, bring him in, and I don't know what they're thinking half the time. But I think Obi Toppin should be the pick here, and I think that they'll make the right move.
I would really like to see Obi in Cleveland as well. I think that's a really good fit for him as well. I just hope he goes earlier than that.
Him and Darius Garland would be a really good combo in the pick and roll.
And Colin Sexton too. We'll throw Colin in there.
And I kind of forgot they had Colin Sexton, honestly.
Yeah,
I think
again,
Obi is a good
drafting
pick.
2 point guards in back-to-back drafts.
Doesn't make it.
I think there's a lot of
franchise.
picks. I think there's a lot of ways Cleveland can go where I'm like, okay, that'll help. I think
when you need that much, you can't hurt yourself.
Right.
You need that much, you can't hurt yourself.
Exactly. All right, so now we move on to Atlanta, and I think it's my turn if we're doing this in snake format, right? Yeah, it is. Yeah. So I have Atlanta taking Denny here. Obviously, you guys have mentioned Denny a lot. His upside is incredible. He's only 19 years old. I think Atlanta still is I thought last year they might be a team that could run for the playoffs, but I still think they're a couple years away. I really like John Collins. I really like Trae Young, obviously, but I think Denny. I think that's a good spot for him to kind of lay low and improve his game. So I'll go with Denny as who I would pick and who I think Atlanta will take. And now we come. Thank you. Now we come to Colin for who he thinks Atlanta will take on draft night.
So Atlanta is tough too because they are one of the teams that you kind of have the star power with Trae, and you've added Clint Capella, and you have John Collins, and I like Kevin Herter. I don't even know how to say his last name. DeAndre Hunter is good too. So they don't really need. They don't really need there's nothing glaring on their there's no glaring hole. They have a lot of guys who could be really good. I think they take another. I mean, they need defense is one thing they definitely need, and I think they take Vassell here, who fits with their run and gun 3-point shooting, kind of DNA, but he can defend. And like I said, he's very similar to Cam Reddish, and I don't think if you asked Atlanta if they wanted to add another Cam Reddish very similar in this day and age in basketball, it would not be a bad thing. Who they should take, I think Devin Vassell again. It's a weird team.
Devin Vassell getting a lot of love from you guys. He doesn't get a ton of love from me, but he is a good shooter. I think Atlanta goes.
I think he's really got a defensive end too.
Yeah. He kind of flew under my radar a little bit. I think Atlanta takes Obi Toppin here. I think Toppin's NBA ready. He might be the most explosive player in the draft. They got a ton of young stars already, like you guys were saying, no real glaring holes. But I think Toppin, like I believe Mike was saying earlier, he'll help spread the floor for guys like Trae Young and help get him some more open shots. He's kind of an elite cutter, so I could see that working well for their offense too. I think they'll take Toppin, and I think they should take Toppin as well. So that's what I'm going with here for the Hawks.
I think the Hawks, I've seen a lot of mock drafts having them take a point guard here, whether that be Tyrese Halliburton or Killian Hayes. I don't see that with Trae being there. They could use somebody in that 2-guard spot. That's kind of they have a lacking there. But I agree, it's never bad to go with a defensive player when you have a star like Trae Young who's not great on the defensive end. I think they're going to go with Devin Vassell. I think that's a good pick. He can kind of lighten the load of having Trae Young down on the court, who's not a great defender. It's a pretty good defensive squad when you can put out Clint Capella and Devin Vassell out there. So I think that's who they should take as well. I think Atlanta will be competing for a playoff spot next year. I think Trae takes that another step. He's taking a step every year. I think he takes another step next year. I love Trae Young though too, so I'm a little bit biased on that. So I think that's who they should take, and I think that'll help their team quite a bit.
I think I'm going to start comparing the Atlanta Hawks to the Cincinnati Reds. I think they're going to become like that team where everyone's like, they're going to be a playoff team. Well, the Reds were this year, but expanded playoffs. They wouldn't have been. Exactly. The Reds have a ton of talent. I think Atlanta's got a ton of talent as well.
Yeah, I agree. How are they gonna make those pieces fit is the question.
Right. And I think they will as time tells. I'm just not sure if they're ready yet. But also, sure. I mean, that playoff spot obviously would not be shocking if Atlanta becomes a playoff team. All right, we go to the Motor City at pick number. What pick are we on? 7 here? Yeah, 7. PJ, staying with you with the snake format. Let's see. What glaring person do you know? Hold on. I want to see what glaring person so you still have Onyeka not picked.
Yes.
I think that's it. I think that's the only glaring player you have not drafted.
He's got Toppin too, yeah.
Yeah, so who do you think Detroit takes?
They need a lot. They need a lot of help. I know this might be one of the worst 7th, 8th pick teams in a long time. I don't know. They're bad. They're not a good team, and they have no bright spot in their best players, Blake Griffin, and their second best player.
Whoa.
Probably.
Christian would hate. I don't take it. I just don't take it.
Not their best player.
Their best player is Blake Griffin. Their second best player might be Derrick Rose.
Oh my goodness.
Their third best player is probably Luke Kennard.
Oh, stop.
And then Christian Wood. So they need a lot of help.
Luke Kennard is terrible.
Luke
Kennard is good. Luke Kennard is good.
He was good in Duke.
No, Luke Kennard
was good last year too.
He's a good pro. He just gets hurt all the time.
Anyways, I think they go with a point guard here. I think this is one of the best players in the draft. It could be. He needs to develop, but I think they're going to go with Killian Hayes. I like his game a lot. Sees the floor really well. Is a good scorer. I think that's who they should take too. It's always good to have a good point guard when you're searching for things. Like I think to me at least, point guard is like a quarterback in football. It's so important to have out there. So I think when you're looking for something and you need everything as this roster, it's never a bad spot to start with point guard. So I think they go with Killian Hayes.
You're not a Brandon Knight stan?
Is he still in their roster?
I think so.
It's even in the
Derrick Rose is the starter. Derrick Rose is the starter, which I love Derrick Rose, but I hope Derrick Rose goes to a contender and gets a championship. Derrick Rose. It could happen. It could easily happen.
So PJ, you don't think, Detroit lacking centers right now? I mean, maybe Christian Wood could play center.
Well, you just said Christian Wood was like the
he's a 4.
The holy grail.
He's a 4. But he could play the 5. So obviously you think he could probably play the 5 if you have him passing on Onyeka.
I do.
Yeah.
Okay. I do. I like Onyeka a lot too. Let's not get that.
Yeah. Okay.
But I think Killian Hayes.
Okay, that makes sense. Matt?
I got Detroit taking Isaac Okoro from Auburn. Like Colin said, he's probably the best defender in the draft. I think his offensive potential, it's a little limited right now. It could blow up here in the next couple of years, but his defense will make him. His defense will allow him to be plugged in, basically guard 3 different positions on the court wherever they need him. I think he can become useful to them right off the bat too. So I got them taking Okoro, and I think they should take Okoro too because, again, he's the best defender in the draft, and they could use it.
All right. Colin?
tough. I do see them moving on from Blake Griffin, leaving a hole, or even like keeping Blake Griffin, having him kind of mentor, because I think their games are a little similar. I think it's time in my board, Toppin is off the draft, off the board. And if I'm a GM, if I'm a GM and Obi is still there, I'm probably taking Obi as well.
So you just don't like Obi that much? I mean, I think Matt, you can speak on this too because you haven't had Obi taken as well. Do you guys just not like him that much, or do you think it just doesn't fit well in
I
any
don't
of
see
those
him
places?
fitting. He doesn't fit in Minnesota. I don't see him fitting in Golden State, in my opinion. Charlotte needs a big man and not someone like Obi. I mean, I could see him going to Chicago, but I think it'd be a mistake. I think Chicago has other areas, and they like to go international.
I think Laurie and him are kind of similar too in what they like to do, so that wouldn't fit
He's a
well.
better Laurie, though.
Yeah, I agree.
Laurie's
I
very
mean, I
average.
could see him in Cleveland. I don't think Cleveland's a horrible place for him to be. But I think he falls to Detroit.
All right, so we come to me for Detroit. I'm with PJ here. I think they go Killian Hayes. I think it kind of shores up their point guard, which is just kind of like a hodgepodge kind of put together backcourt. So I think they'll go Killian Hayes, and I also would like Killian Hayes. I really like Killian Hayes. He's 18 years old. He's 18 years old. Detroit, they're not in win now. I hope that Matt trade where they get rid of Blake Griffin. I mean, obviously, I would love to see Blake Griffin off this team because I think they need to go full rebuild mode with how young they are, and they got some nice pieces, but they're kind of half young, half old. And with Killian Hayes being 18 years old as a point guard, I think he would be perfect to build in Detroit. So I'll go there for that. All right, so PJ used a pass earlier. I'm gonna use a pass here too because I really struggled with this next pick for New York. So I am going to pass this one to Colin because New York's New York,
Yeah, no, of course. I mean, good Lord, the Knicks, they can't even get lotteries correct, and the fact that they're just never near where they need to be to get. I mean, last year they needed Zion or Ja, and they just were so close, didn't get him. And they also signed 3 power forwards in free agency last year. So if I'm going small here, and if I'm going small, then I'm looking at the best talent available on the board. And I'm going to echo what you guys are saying. I think Killian Hayes is the steal of this draft. He looks, watching highlights of him, he already kind of has the Harden step back. His shooting needs to improve. I'm not saying he's going to turn James Harden, but he has that lefty step back, and it looks smooth. People are comparing him to Manu Ginobili. That would be like best case scenario for the Knicks. I don't think you can find another player who is as least Knicks as possible, and that's Manu Ginobili. So I think Killian Hayes goes there. Fans, more virtual boos. I think Killian Hayes is the correct pick, and that's what I would do if he's still there.
Sorry, Colin, I thought you were on mode.
One
thing is, New York did draft Frank Ntilikina. I always struggle with his last name too.
Nikita?
Yeah, I don't think that's
Ntilikina or something like that.
Yeah. But anyways, he was also from France, right? And he was a point guard as well. Is there a little bit of a stigma there where it's like, do we really run this back knowing fans know that Frank did not work out?
He is an outlier. He was just a horrible bust. I think the talk out of Hayes' camp is that it's not the case. It's not. I agree. I understand what you're saying, and I do. I could totally see the Knicks front office being like, "Well, we already tried someone from France," but it's I think again best skill, and for the position they need, it's Killian Hayes.
Okay, that's fair enough. Matt, where do you think? Also, Matt, can you put it to the left a little bit as much as you can for the big board so we can see the picks a little more if you can. There we go, right there. Perfect. Thank you. All right. So Matt, go ahead.
So I think the Knicks screw this one up. I think they take Tyrese Halliburton. Not necessarily a huge screw up. They still need a point guard. So he'll work. I mean, he's got good strength and he can finish the rim, but he definitely needs some more development. He's not really great off the ball. When he does have the ball, he doesn't really make the best play with it. I watched him struggle against the Kansas defense multiple times throughout his college career. It was pretty awesome being a Kansas fan. But I think they take Tyrese Halliburton. If I was the GM, I would take Killian Hayes, but I think they mess up, like I said, and they take Halliburton.
Okay. PJ, do you agree with any of these fools, or are you going somewhere else?
I think they take Tyrese Halliburton. I think that's the right pick. I actually really like him as he's a fantastic playmaker, and he's a player that a coach is going to love. He does the little things. He rotates well on defense. He has a high basketball IQ. And I think that's going to be a great addition to a team that already has what they believe is building blocks of R.J. Barrett, and Drew Hanlon believes is building blocks of R.J. Barrett and Julius Randle. So I think they need that point guard shirt up. I think Tyrese Halliburton is going to be a great guy that's going to be willing to give up the ball and get the ball in the hands of the two scorers that do have RJ Barrett and Julius Randle. And I think that's going to be a play that helps their team be better. They still need a lot of work, but that's going to be the best pick for them. And that's who I would take as well, is Tyrese Halliburton.
So obviously I'm struggling, and I still don't know who the Knicks to take. I think all of us can agree that we don't know who the Knicks are going to take.
For sure.
No,
they could also trade up.
They could trade up. So I'm going to tell you who I think they'll take before, or who I would take before I tell you who they're going to take, just because I don't know. I would take Tyrell Terry here if I'm the Knicks. He's a guard from Stanford, and he is a big-time shooter as well. PJ's got 2 screens going. That's pretty wild. He's a big-time shooter. He can really change the game from beyond the arc, and I think he would go really well with RJ Barrett, Julius Randle, Mitchell Robinson. I think he'd be a good fit there. I don't think they'll go there. I still don't know what they're going to do. They could go so many different ways. I don't think they'll go Onyeka just because they've got Mitchell Robinson, and that wouldn't make any sense. So I could see that. I'm going to go that they're going to take Isaac Okoro here. I think it'll be like best player available other than their center.
They're going to hate that pick, but it's a good pick because they need defense.
Yeah,
they're going to
hate
hate
that. I'm going to go with. So, PJ, Washington Wizards, one of your boys, Bradley Beal, and Matt's boys. Bradley Beal is on that team. John Wall's still on that team. Rui Hachimura's there. They've got a couple of pieces, but they did a lot of work as well. PJ, who do you think Washington takes?
Yeah, love Brad. Love Brad. I don't know how much longer he'll be a Washington Wizard. They've said they don't have any interest in trading him, but if the price is right, I can't imagine they wouldn't let him go, because they're not going to win now, but they're also not like in a rebuilding because they have John Wall and Bradley Beal. Anyways, I think they take Onyeka Okongwu here. I think he's the best player available. They don't have a lot of size. I think he's a great rebounder, great player. We've already seen a phrase. You guys have him highest going as 4th overall. I think it's highest somebody has him going overall. So obviously the potential and the upside's there. I like him a lot. I think he's the best big man in this draft, and I think Washington gets a steal here, and I also think that's who they should take as well.
So I believe you have James Wiseman ahead of him though. In your personal.
I do. It's a better fit I think Onyeka Okongwu is somebody that's going to be a great building block in the next couple of years. Like, he's going to be a great player next year. I think James Wiseman's more NBA ready. I don't think Charlotte's going to be patient. I don't think they have to be. Like, they want somebody that's going to make an immediate impact. They need that. They've had a tough couple of years. So I like James Wiseman for them because I think he can come in and average maybe 20 and 10 a game right away. But I think Onyeka Okongwu at the end of the day is going to be the better player down the line.
Sounds good. Matt, who do you think Washington takes here?
I think they nab up Devin Vassell here. I think he's a good fit for them. He'll work well with Beal and John Wall. He'll create some scoring. He'll be a perimeter threat for sure. He's one of the best shooters in the draft. So I think that's a good play for them. I think that's who they'll go for. If I were them, if Onyeka Okongwu was available, I would grab him. I think that's a great fit, PJ. Unfortunately, I don't think he will be available, so I'd still grab Devin Vassell here.
Colin, who do you think they go?
Washington is another team like New York where you just have no clue where to start. And like, I'm thankful I'm not the GM of Washington, even though that would be a sick job. But like, where do you go with Brad Beal? I know they don't want to trade him, but like, he is too good to be on that team. John Wall, again, same kind of thing, but again with the injury problems. They have wings, kind of. I think who they will take is. I think they will take Patrick Williams from Florida State, who is like, he's there. He's ready to defend. And again, they don't need, like, Washington will score. They don't need scoring. They need people that can rebound and people that can play defense. I think Patrick Williams is the correct pick there, and who they will take. Who I want them to take, I want them to take Tyrese Maxey from Kentucky. I think Tyrese Maxey is pretty underrated, and he's one of the best scorers in the country. But in my dream scenario for Washington, they get rid of Brad Beal, John Wall, and start moving towards younger people like Maxey. But I don't think they do that.
Okay, well here's the question for you, Colin. If John Wall comes back and he becomes the player that he was before the injury, and Brad Beal has the season that he has, that's it, isn't it? But I mean, he was a really good player before that.
I think John Wall's great. I just don't think he can stay healthy.
But if he comes back and has the season or has the season he can be, I think you have a good roster. And if you had a big name to that roster, like an Echo Cone or somebody along those lines, if they're there,
yeah, no, definitely.
I don't really good team.
Sure, no, I think I'll echo what Mike said. And if you have Onyeka, 00 there, you for sure take him. I just think there's no chance he's falling to 10.
The East is open. Let's put it that way too. So if John Wall comes back to his form and Brad Beal has the season that he has, the East is open.
Yeah,
there's not a favorite in the East. There's not a favorite. There's not a clear-cut favorite in the East.
I would agree with that, but I can tell you who's not the favorite. It's Washington, and I don't think I think just Washington's just so I just feel so bad for Bradley Beal and John Wall, and less so than John Wall, but Bradley Beal needs to. He reminds me of that. Washington to me is what Portland is in the West, but Portland has really gotten up to where they kind of can max out their potential with the roster and with the way that team is built. And Washington has the same restrictions top to bottom, but has yet to kind of do what Portland is doing. And I think that's just kind of I think you just have to blow it up. And you can signal you can blow it up by drafting someone like Tyrese Maxey.
All right. I will agree with PJ here. I think Onyeka Nkugwe goes here. I hope he's here still. I don't know. He might go earlier, but if he does, he does. But assuming he's still here, I think they go with him. And I would also take Onyeka. 00. We're gonna have to figure that out. I don't know who's been the best at trying at it.
I'm
definitely
don't even try.
Definitely have Onyeka down. His last name Okongwu? Maybe.
I definitely don't have it down. That's for sure. Phoenix now, right? Are we on to Phoenix?
Yeah.
So down to Phoenix. Number 10.
8-0 in the bubble last year. People forget.
It's true. I think they go Tyrell Terry here. I think that would be a good addition to offset Devin Booker. Take a little bit of a load off him. Nope, not as a personal. Yeah, sorry, as Tyrell Terry there. I think it would be good not to offset Devin Booker. I don't know if that's the right word. To complement Devin Booker is what I meant to say. I think they fit really well there. I also again we get to this dilemma of I took Obi Toppin twice personally, but I also would want them to take Tyrell Terry. So you guys can be the judge and the jury on this one, but just put Tyrell Terry for me as well.
Yes, sir.
And then Colin, we come to you for Phoenix.
Phoenix again is a team that has similar to Atlanta. I think they're the Western Conference version of Atlanta, where they have a lot of talent. They've had top picks in the past, and a couple of them have panned. Booker is great. How if they can keep Booker over the next 3-4 years? That's the question. They need someone who can step in and sort of be that in the top 8 kind of role, top 8 in the rotation kind of thing. And I think they go Tyrese Halliburton strictly because he's still there on my board. And also he is a good prospect. He struggled a little bit in college, but he has the intangibles. He has the he just has the size, the speed, and he's young. I think he can help that team immediately. And I think Phoenix makes the playoffs next year.
I can agree on that take. Phoenix definitely will make the playoffs next year.
They were so close this year. 8-0 in the bubble, and they still didn't make it. Kind of unfortunate for them, but they'll be a popular pick, though. I think a popular pick to make.
They're going to take Portland's place. I think Portland doesn't make the playoffs next year.
So obviously we haven't gotten to San Antonio yet, but you don't think San Antonio will get back to their winning ways after the first playoff miss in like 24 years or whatever it was?
No, that team is trending downward, and I think Pop
Very much so.
and they know it, and I think they are. I mean, they're due for a rebuild. I mean, teams would pay exorbitant amounts of money to be where the Spurs kind of started. So I just don't think the Spurs are in a win now position. I think DeMar DeRozan's not the answer, and I think they're missing on a couple young guys like Murray and struggling to think like Lonnie Walker. Like those guys are just they're not panning out the way they expected. And Pop is, but again, Pop. I mean, you reap what you sow. You compete, you win X amount of championships. You're bound to regress, and it's their time.
All right, Matt, where do you think Phoenix is going?
I think Phoenix is going with Aaron Nesmith, forward out of Vanderbilt. He's a sharpshooter. I think he'll definitely help to spread the floor for Kelly Oubre and Devin Booker. So I'd love to see them take a little sharpshooter who can just kind of post up in the corner and wait for the ball, pick and pop out the corner. I just think with them being they're so in win now mode that I think they just need somebody that'll put them over the top that can play in the rotation, like you were saying, Colin, and come in and make sort of an instant impact in a position where they need. So that's why I got Nesmith there. And I think if he were available, I think that's who I would take too if I was their GM.
PJ, it's to you. You get to close out Phoenix.
I'm going to go
Who's
with
Phoenix taking?
Isaac Okoro. I think that'll be a nice defensive asset for them. I think it'll help offset Devin Booker, who's sometimes not the greatest defensively. I like Tyrell Terry as a player, Mike. I was going to say that, but I worry about his size. I think he's very similar to Devin Booker. He's great off the ball, great shooter, potentially, limitless range, but very similar to Devin Booker. I don't really know where they get you in terms of
you don't think he can play the point?
I think he's better off the ball, coming off the ball. Sure. I think he's almost masterful. He reminds the shades of almost this blasphemy, but he really good off the ball, almost similar to Klay Thompson, the way Klay Thompson maneuvers off the ball. So I don't necessarily like him as a point guard. I think he's going to be better in a situation where he can kind of come off screens, maneuver off the ball. So I like Isaac Okoro here. That's who I would take as well to offset that defensive liability that Devin Booker provides on the floor. It is assuming that Devin Booker is still on the Suns. We've heard his name's been in trade rumors for the past 3-4 months now. I feel like,
right.
Especially the last 3 or 4 months though. So if
Devin
Booker stays,
I think they have to do anything they can to keep Devin Booker. I think he's.
I would agree.
I think he's the best star Phoenix has had in a long time.
I agree, but if you are going to trade him, now's the time. It's either now or never.
Totally agree. I think they need to build on what they did last year and kind of go for it this year. If they go for it and it again falls flat on its face like it has in the past, then I think you can get a lot for him.
All right, PJ, staying with you, and we're going to San Antonio now. Who are the Spurs taking?
Man, San Antonio is a really, really weird team. I could see them trading out of this pick because I don't really know what they get there. Pop's a smart guy. I could see him trading for future picks, knowing this is a weaker draft class. And I don't think anybody said that yet in this thing. I think this is a weaker draft class than we've seen in the last couple of years. Right. So I think I could see Pop trading out of this. I would like to tell you a trade that I see happening. I just don't know what's going to be there. I don't know what the market's going to be like. The 12th overall, 12th overall pick, 10th or 11th. I don't know where. I think we're 11th because we skipped.
We're at 11th.
So 11th overall pick. Yeah, I don't know what that market's going to be like. So I'm just going to say they draft. Pop likes his foreign guys. I'm going to butcher this name.
Don't. You're stealing my guy. Name. You're stealing my guy. Butcher this name.
Alexei.
Oh my goodness. I think you got it.
Maybe. The lengthy 7-footer. The lengthy 7-footer out of Greece. I'm pretty sure, right? Serbia. I think maybe actually.
Serbia. I think it's Serbia.
Yeah. So Pop likes this foreign guy. He's had success with him in the past. I can see him going this route again. I don't really know. I think they're going to move off LaMarcus Aldridge this offseason, so you're going to have that spot for the big man not that LaMarcus Aldridge is the answer moving forward anyways, but I think they're going to have that open. I think that's who they should take, and I think that's who they will take.
Matt, can you multitask and also give us who you think they will take while you're doing that?
Yes, I can multitask. It's almost too perfect for San Antonio to get a foreign point guard, so they're going to take Killian Hayes here. I think it just works. Their history with European small guards, even though he's not really that small, he's 6'5", 200 pounds. He's really not small, but I think he could be a good replacement for Dejounte Murray, considering he hasn't really panned out too well. Although Dejounte Murray over on rebound props, ATM, moneymaker. But other than that,
I love it.
He will not be missed. I think Killian Hayes can also rebound the ball pretty well. So
I think if Killian Hayes is still there, that'd be a great pickup. I also still believe in Dejounte Murray. I think that he could be a really good player in the NBA. Not like a star, but I think he's a good piece. But if Killian Hayes is there still, I think that'd be a steal for San Antonio.
100%.
I agree with that. Colin, come to you.
If Killian Hayes is still there for San Antonio, they absolutely have to take him. I think Killian Hayes is top 5 talent in this draft. That being said, he is not there on my big board. I think they draft Tyrese Maxey. They go point guard. I think they're trying to just throw darts at the dartboard with these young guards. And like I said, I don't think they've panned out to the liking of their front office. Who I'd like to see them pick. I mean, can I put Killian Hayes there? Even though I don't think. I mean, I would like to see. Yeah, I'd like to see. I mean, I would like to see Killian Hayes in Pop's system because I think he is a mini Manu, and I think Pop can push him to that place.
I like Tyrese Maxey a lot, though. I think he's a really good player as well. I think he would fit great in Pop. He's a hustler. He plays hard. I think Pop would love him, a guy like that.
Yeah.
Mike, roll with me here.
No,
Come on, Mike. Do it.
I wasn't going to put him
Mike.
in my big board, but I was going to mention his name because that was going to be like my sleeper of.
Do it.
I love
Do
that,
it.
but
Roll with me.
I was thinking about it. I just don't see San Antonio. I don't know. I'm going to go with Tyrese Maxey as well because I think he's got that defensive ability that Pop loves, where he's kind of a scrappy defender as well.
He's a dog.
Yeah, so I think Pop would really – not that Pop's a GM, but I think Pop really would like that on his team. So if I'm San Antonio – yeah.
He has time.
I think I would also go with Tyrese Maxey. I know they've got some potential point guards in their room, but also like Pete just said earlier, they're a weird team where they have playmakers elsewhere with LaMarcus Aldridge, DeMar DeRozan, whether or not they're both on the team come opening night. But either way, I think I would take Tyrese Maxey here. And now we come to not even close to my favorite team, but the Sacramento Kings.
It's a nice jersey.
Thank you. It's a Marvin Bagley, everybody, who I'm a big fan of, but he can't stay on the court right now because of injuries. But anyways, I just want to bring up the fact that a couple years ago, the year after Giannis was drafted, I believe they drafted Papa Giannis, which to me is hilarious because Papa Giannis is garbage, but just because he's the dad of Giannis, it's pretty funny to me. But, I mean, they're a mess as well. They have been a mess. I feel like they've got some nice pieces. They might be a trade candidate as well, I think, to move up. I think there's been some Buddy Hield rumors going around everywhere. I could see them maybe sending Buddy Hield over to Golden State for that number 2 pick and the rest of that deal.
It's the last thing Golden State, Golden State with Buddy Hield would be so nice.
I could see it.
For the number 2 pick, I think that's worth a lot more than Buddy Hield.
Yeah, I agree. I said plus more. I just don't know what that would look like.
It'd have to be a couple first, I feel like, for future first.
They could also probably get a player back. I don't know who it would be. I don't know. I haven't looked up the deal. I haven't thought of. I didn't go as far as Matt to like what the deal itself would be, but I think that could be in play. I'm going to say. I mean, this is where like the point guards are everywhere, right? It's like point guard.
Yep.
I'm gonna go with Cole Anthony here. I think it's a little bit of a risky kind of thing.
But don't they have De'Aaron?
They do have De'Aaron Fox. But I don't know. I just don't like anybody else on the board right now other than point guards.
Very, very risky, but let's not forget, going into last season, he was considered maybe the first overall pick.
Yeah, the upside.
Like he was very high, and the knee injury took him out. He wasn't great in the games he played in, but
Then he stepped on the court and see, and they're like, he's not the number one pick.
But
Yeah, so I think they
upside
go ahead.
there. I'm just saying the upside's there. I don't hate that
Yeah.
pick.
Yeah,
If they didn't have De'Aaron, I would think that's more feasible. I think Cole Anthony definitely falls before 20, or falls somewhere between 10 and 20. I just think they're really trying to push this, like, they're just up and down the floor. They were one of the fastest teams last year. They have the pieces. What they need is defense, in my opinion.
yeah. I mean, that's fair. So maybe like a Tyrese Maxey would fit possibly as a backup point guard for them. Come in
Yeah.
and be a spark off the bench for defense. But I would personally go with Patrick Williams here. I think with like the uncertainty of Bagley, I think Patrick Williams could be a guy that could step in and be a nice role player for them off the bench. So I'll go with Patrick Williams if I were them. And now we come back to Colin for who he thinks.
I'm also going to put
Sacramento will go.
Patrick Williams in the personal and who I would take. I think he's great defensively. And like I said, this is a team that needs defense. That being said, he's already off my board to a similar team that needs defense. But if that's the case, I'm going to go with Precious out of Memphis and Achua. I don't
think
know.
so.
But I like Precious.
Achua. I think it's Achua.
Achua, sure.
Yeah.
I like Precious a lot. I think Precious is size, and he's who they need. He's 6'9", 225. He can drive, he can rebound, he can finish through contact, and he'll draw fouls. The defense is where the athleticism, and that's what the Kings need, rebounding. And he kind of would play what Bagley was supposed to do if he could stay healthy, which is rebound and just make athletic defensive plays. So
Matt?
I'm also going with Precious here. That's what I think they're going to take, especially because Marvin Bagley just can't stay healthy. Sorry, Mike. But Sacramento, there should be a sign up on the arena. It should be Sacramento, where careers go to die, because it's just bad out there. It's terrible. I feel bad for whoever gets drafted there every year. So Precious, if it is you, I apologize. I think I personally, if I was the GM, I'd be with you guys. I would take Patrick Williams. He's great on defense. And the fact that he's fallen this far, he should definitely be picked by now. So I would go with Patrick Williams too if I were the GM. But Precious fills that precious hole that they have by Marvin Bagley, and I think they need that.
All right, PJ, your take on Sacramento.
This is my trade. I'm going with, I think they trade this pick. I think they trade it to the Pacers for Victor Oladipo and Miles Turner. I think along with that package, they give up Buddy Hield and Belletzi. You guys know what I'm talking about? Yeah.
Jellicoe?
I think him, Buddy Hield, and the 12th pick for Victor Oladipo, Miles Turner. That'd be a defensive backcourt, De'Aaron Fox and Victor Oladipo, that would be really exciting to watch. They would be a problem for opposing guards every night. And Miles Turner's a great fit. He would be great next to Marvin Bagley. I think that would make them better. They haven't been in the playoffs in a really long time. I think they're going to try to make a playoff push. So I think that's the play there. And then I think the Pacers with the 12th overall pick would probably take Tyrese Maxey.
Interesting.
And that's who I would take as well.
And now we stay with you for the team that had the number one pick in last year's draft by lucky ping pong bounces. But they took Zion Williamson, obviously. Where do you think they go at pick 13?
So I think this would be honestly a fantastic pickup for New Orleans. I'm going to go with Tyrell Terry here. For everything we talked about earlier, great off the ball, great shooter. I think that would be somebody that Lonzo would absolutely love playing with. Him, Lonzo, and Zion could be and you got Brandon Ingram there too. That could be a very, very good young team. Tyrell Terry is who I would take here as well.
Okay. Matt?
I believe that the New Orleans Pelicans are going to select Sadiq Bey out of Villanova. I think he adds a little bit of middle rotation there. He'll be effective right off the bat. He's NBA ready, no doubt about it. He might be one of the more underrated players in this draft. I'm pretty high on Sadiq Bey. I kind of like him. I think he will he'll fill some nice holes there. He could provide some outside shooting, some good cutting. I like him, and that's who I think they should take as well, is Sadiq Bey.
I like that pick a lot. Colin, who do you think New Orleans takes?
Couldn't have said it better, Matt. Sadiq Bey is actually probably my favorite sleeper in this draft, aka any lottery team that can grab him should, if they're even kind of question marking where they're going to go. I think Sadiq Bey is perfect. Villanova guy, anyone that comes out of Villanova. I mean, I love
Dante
him.
DiVincenzo, come on now.
Dante DiVincenzo, Eric Paschall. I mean, even Jalen Brunson got a little run with the Mavs. I think he is the perfect pick for the Pelicans. He can fit in the 3. He can play 4 if Zion is hampered or is load managing. I think he's the perfect pick, and I'm going with Sadiq Bey as well.
I think they'll go Aaron Nesmith here. I think he's kind of a similar player to Sadiq Bey. I personally like Sadiq Bey a little bit better than Aaron Nesmith, but I think most mock drafts have Aaron ranked ahead of Sadiq. So I think they'll go with Aaron Nesmith. I'm going to take Sadiq Bey. And now we come to PJ's team, Boston, but PJ goes last.
PJ.
This is a pick from Memphis. I'd be a little surprised if Boston still has this on draft night. But if they do have it, I could see them going multiple different ways. This one's going to be a little controversial maybe, but I'm going to go with like a more veteran kind of guy that's ready for the league. I'm going to go with Desmond Bane out of TCU. He's a guy that can extend the floor, 6'6", so kind of a wing guy. I could also see them going point guard here because of I'm personally not the biggest Marcus Smart fan. I'm sure PJ is because PJ loves everybody on the Celtics. But I would go wing if I were them. I think, man, go ahead. I'll take Desmond Bane as well. I like him. I think he's a good prospect. He's a little older than most of the other prospects because he went to school for 4 years. But I think that's what the Celtics kind of need right now is a guy that understands basketball and not a long-term project. So I'll go with Desmond Bane here to close out my mock draft.
You cut out. Who'd you say that I like? I would sure like. I like.
I said you probably like or Marcus Smart especially, but I said you probably like everybody on that team.
I love Marcus Smart.
Yeah.
How could you not love Marcus Smart?
Yeah, Marcus Smart is so annoying. He's like Kyle Lowry. He's He's so annoying.
He is super annoying.
Super annoying.
Yeah, he is annoying.
Super
love
annoying.
Marcus.
Travis Ford product though.
He's like Lou Will. He's so annoying.
Heartbeat of what? You hate Lou Will?
I hate Lou Will. He's
Whoa.
so dude.
That's a hot take.
2 girls like Lou Will? How can you hate Lou Will?
Bro, Lou Will. He's a Magic City veteran, but other than that, he's weak.
Wow.
Love Lou Will. Absolute.
I think you're taking what the Clippers did this year into account of Lou Will. But you're looking for playoff P. That's the guy you're going to want to blame.
Lou Will. Okay.
Future Buck playoff P. All right, Matt.
You don't want that's a horrible thing for the Bucks.
I agree, but he's going to be a future Buck. Matt, who do you think? Close out your mock draft here with Boston.
I'm struggling with this one.
I skipped Colin. Shut up, Matt. Colin, I skipped you.
Chivalry is not dead after all. I also like Desmond Bane. I want them to pick Desmond Bane, but I think they'll go Cole Anthony. They need a point guard. I don't think Marcus Smart is good, but he needs to spend more energy shooting and playing defense. He cannot be their full-time point guard.
He's not. Kemba Walker is. What are you guys talking about?
No, I agree.
Kemba Walker is
definitely their full-time point guard.
Point guard. That's their clear number, like their point guard. They have that position filled with Kemba.
But they're having
to too.
Yeah, I think they go Cole Anthony.
What I do think is they could go guard in this situation. And obviously, guys, I will state my bias clearly. I am a huge Celtics fan. It's my favorite team. Jason Tatum supporter, hands down. So this is the team that I follow the most, and I watch all of their games. So this is a huge fan. They could go guard specifically for a backup need. They don't have their backup point guard situation with that second unit figured out, so I could see them going guard there. But definitely they have point guard figured out. The starting point guard's role is filled by Kemba Walker.
You're not wrong.
Yeah, no. Full disclosure, I forgot about Kemba Walker.
It's that kind of night. Who'd you say if you were the GM? Who would you take, Colin?
I like Desmond Bane. I think he's a steal.
Bane. lot of Desmond Bane love late in this draft, ladies and gents.
Well, I think he
As-
just
as
with
there
Boston
should be.
especially.
All right,
In a
I'll close
win-now
out
team.
the draft real quick then for you. I have struggled with this pick. I think I have no idea where they're going to go. I think they replace Gordon Hayward, but at the same time, like maybe they're trying to ship Marcus Smart off in some wild trade that I haven't even thought about yet, and they're trying to replace him.
Who's
But I
trading
don't
for
know.
Marcus Smart?
Never trade for Marcus. They'll never trade Marcus Smart.
I-
That's really the heartbeat of the team. Like
All right.
literally.
Wow,
Okay.
there is a take.
Thank you, PJ, for your input, Mr. Celtics. Thank you. So Larry Bird over there before I got interrupted. I'd like to say maybe they'll take RJ Hampton.
Wait,
I'm
where
gonna
did
go
Larry
RJ.
Bird come into this?
White.
Just hating on PJ a little bit. I'll go.
Also,
Hampton.
move off from Gordon
I-
Hayward. Gordon Hayward's still under contract and he's still there.
Yeah, but he's kind of crummy, bro. He's on the bench nowadays.
He starts when he played. He started every game that he was healthy.
If the Celtics want to take the next step, they need to stop relying on Gordon.
They
Hayward.
need to stop. They need to give up on Gordon Hayward. I think they take RJ Hampton. RJ Hampton's clean. He's a 6'5" shooting guard. Played in Australia. He was one of the most highly rated recruits last year before he broke my heart by saying he wasn't coming to Kansas anymore and was going to go play at Australia. So I think they take him.
I like RJ
Personally,
Hampton.
if I was the GM, I'd be trying to get Marcus Smart's annoying butt out of there, and I'd take Cole Anthony. But that's just me.
Marcus Smart is so valuable.
All right, PJ, we don't have like a half hour for you to go into the Celtics deeply as you probably want to. I'm sure you'll get to like Robert Williams if we were that invested in time, but
I'm Lord's a beast.
I was so high on Robert Williams out of
Yeah.
A&M.
He
So
did.
high on him.
Okay, so I'm just gonna say this now. Clearly, I'm the only one here that actually watched Celtics games because he just said Marcus Smart's invaluable and he moved. They're looking.
Who
to
said
I
that?
didn't say
Who
that.
said
I
that?
didn't
Who
say
said
he's
that?
invaluable. I said he's
Bum
annoying.
butt out of there. Is what you said.
He's annoying.
I said get his annoying butt out of there because he's annoying. He is.
Yeah,
He is
I'm
super
just-
annoying, but he's
Super
very
annoying.
good.
Thank you.
Guy. He's basically their team captain essentially. They're not going to move off of Marcus Smart. They're not looking to replace Gordon Hayward. In the games that Gordon
Essentially.
played last year, he was actually really, really good. He was honestly, obviously, you guys don't watch Celtics games because he was really good last year in the games he played when he was healthy.
I love how PJ's supportive argument is you guys don't watch Celtics games.
You know, clearly, it's anybody who watches the Celtics will watch this and be like, yeah, these guys don't watch the Celtics play basketball. I think it's very obvious from what you said so far. That being said, they need to fill that big man spot. Daniel Tice was great last year, but not the answer. I still have a couple names out there. I think Patrick Williams would be a great pickup for them. I think Precious Okoye will be yeah, that's right. Precious Okoye, whatever. He'll be a great one out there. I think they go with Jalen Smith out of Maryland. Played in Maryland, close by. They're going to love that kid. He plays hard, big defender. I think he's going to be really great for them. So that's what I think they will go with. And I think that's who they should go with as well.
You know what happened the last time the Celtics took a kid out of Maryland in the first round, right?
Tell me, Costa. Enlighten me.
Len Bias.
He
died.
I know.
Yeah, he died.
The Bucks traded Dirk Nowitzki for a guy that died as well. Fun fact.
Oh.
Bucks had Dirk Nowitzki and they traded him for a tractor trailer.
It's a tough way to round out this draft. You guys absolutely just butchering your Celtics picks. It's a tough way to close.
But how is Desmond Bane a butcher? That's what I want to know.
Desmond Bane? But Costa just utterly put so much disrespect on Marcus Smart's name that it killed.
That
the
was
draft.
more just to rile you up at this point. I think it's kind of funny.
Well, Celtics won't be winning a championship for a while, so you don't
Nope.
need to.
We don't have to worry about them. We do not have to worry about them. They're scrubs.
So who do you think
If they
should
couldn't beat the Heat this year, they're not going to be like the East is only getting better.
Team that went to the finals. Yeah, it's tough.
I mean, they
With-
should have beaten the Heat. I don't think it's a hard. They had more skill on their team than the Heat did.
With Kemba not at 100%, yeah, that's tough.
Oh my god.
Players being 23 and 24, yeah, it's tough.
The Heat were the Cinderella underdog team, and the Celtics had a chance to prove themselves to be not just another team that got swept up in the Magic, and they were.
So by that logic, the Bucks will never win a championship then too, correct?
The Bucks definitely should have been in the championship.
The Bucks will not be winning a championship,
and they won't be. They
won't
should
be.
have been. They won't be at all.
As your resident Bucks fan, they will not be
When
unless
Giannis-
something crazy happens. Like if they go out and get, I think there's not even anybody to go get where that really moves the needle for them. Unless
When
it
Giannis
has to
goes
include
to
Gatorade
Miami.
or Bledsoe.
They need to get Chris Paul, and that's their only chance.
I think we should.
Colin knows I've been anti-Bledsoe for about like 3 years now.
I hate Eric Bledsoe.
As everyone should be.
Yeah.
We should close it out, guys, by giving some notable left-offs off our list here. And
Yeah, I agree. Like some what hot takes happened here. Matt, can you scroll to the left a little bit for me?
Yes, sir.
I think Obi Toppin is definitely a hot take from me.
Cole Anthony not being anybody's top 15 besides or 14 besides you is no.
I have him.
You have him.
I got him.
Matt, scroll up a little bit.
Yeah.
Two of you do. Costa, you do not have.
I do, right here. Cole Anthony.
Then Colin doesn't? No, you're the second spot, I thought.
Oh,
Colin
no,
does as well.
I don't. I'm sorry. I have
Oh,
RJ Hampton.
Yeah, I was going to say. So two of us left out Cole Anthony. I left out Cole Anthony. I think he's going to be a good player, but I think he's out of there.
Matt, scroll back left and up if you can.
Am I there yet?
You're not.
Just
There you
far
go.
left
Yeah.
side.
Keep going. Yep, that's doing something. So keep going. Keep going.
Does that-
Perfect. Now, perfect. Now scroll up so we can see our names. Nope. Damn. Now you got to scroll left again.
All right.
Where do you have LaMelo going? You have him dropping out of the what? Top?
He's number 4.
You haven't dropped out of the top 3.
I have him going to Chicago. Yeah. I
don't think
I
that's
think
crazy.
I think Obi's. I think it's a top 4, and I don't think it's necessarily the top 3 because I think Obi's pushing the envelope there.
Here's a crazy pick. Here's a crazy idea. What are the odds of Denny Avita flying up to number 1?
I can't see it.
I hope they do, but they won't.
I hope so. I absolutely hope so.
Well, clearly you don't because you, Matt, have LaMelo as your hope, and Colin, you don't either because you have Anthony Edwards as your hope.
Yeah.
Got him. Got him.
I mean, I don't really hope Anthony Edwards. That's what I would do if I'm the Wolves.
All right. Any closing thoughts? Anybody really got some beef with somebody?
Everybody say their favorite pick. Their favorite pick.
Obi
Sadiq
top
Bey.
into Golden State.
Sadiq Bey.
Sadiq Bey to who?
I like Sadiq Bey to New Orleans, but I also really like Denny to Chicago. I mean, Chicago's a dumpster fire, but
Matt?
Denny to Chicago is probably my favorite pick on the board. If he goes to the Bulls, I will be so happy.
What if
That's-
LaMelo goes to the Bulls? Because I think that's where LaMelo goes. What, as you as a Bulls fan, what would you think?
I guess I'd have to see how it plays out. I wouldn't hate right away, but I would be a little distraught.
All right, PJ, what's your favorite pick?
My favorite pick, it's not even mine because I didn't think he'd be there, but if Killian Hayes is in San Antonio, I would absolutely love that. I would love watching him. I think Obi Toppin, it's nobody had this. I think if he slips to 8, I think he goes to the Knicks. I think Obi Toppin on the Knicks would be good. There's a couple of picks I really like. This draft it's going to be, I think, this is maybe a hot take. I think it's going to be really spread out in talent. You're going to find talent kind of scattered all the way throughout this draft.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's necessarily going to be like the 1 and 2 are going to be like absolutely the best overall players of this draft when you look at it back in 3 years from now. I think there's going to be talent kind of scattered through all the way out. So when you get to the players like Killian Hayes, Devin Vassell, Onyeka Okongwu, I think those are going to be the players you look back and say, man, those were kind of steals for those teams.
All right, awesome. Well, guys, good job. We'll have to keep the receipts for this one after draft night. And if you stayed around and watched this entire thing, you should probably go get some exercise because it's been like 2 hours of you just sitting down and watching our video. So, yeah. But thanks for watching, everybody. Hit that like and subscribe. That is our draft board. Deuces.